Hi guys, welcome back to Chess the Matthew. So on this video, I will show you on how to win in the Sicilian defense with the games taken from Hastings 1964 to 65 with the players of Victor Denis Mardli versus Nuna Gaprindashvili, the first woman grandmaster in the chess history. So their opening battlefield goes with the move e4 and c5, in which Mardley here is playing for white, and after, for example, knight f3, Nuna here plays e6. So we shall see on this position now that it is actually a Sicilian stop. For example, on this position, in which the white here always plays d4, and the black here again always plays a capture to the d4, and after, for example, knight takes d4, we shall see on this position now that the black here has a two central pawns versus one, in which these two pawns for black leaves an initiative for the black's pieces. So here, Nuna plays the move knight to c6, tries to have an early tension on the center with the knights. And for example, after Dinis here plays bishop to e3, Nuna here plays knight f6, attacking the undefended pawn on e4, and Mardli here defend with knight to d2. So we shall see in this position now that both players here are doing fine for this opening, and here, although it actually violates some opening principle that you should not move your pieces twice, but for example, after here Nona plays e5, although it actually moves his pawn twice, but still it doesn't even actually lose his tempo because it attacks a piece. And after, for example, knight takes c6 and d takes c6, so we shall see in this position now that they actually ended into a symmetrical position, for example, with the pawn structures. And here, Mardli here plays the move f3 to avoid any knight g4 hop or even bishop to g4, for example. And for example, after knight to g4, that actually attacks his bishop. So the white here actually don't want to be bothered on his placement of his pieces, for example, with a knight g4, because he wants to play a smooth development, for example, after bishop c4 and later on castle on the king side. So here, Nuna plays the move bishop to e7, clearing his path to the king side, and the white here do the same after bishop to c4, and after king side castling and king side castling for both sides, again, Nuna here plays knight to h5. Although it actually again violates opening principle that you should not move your pieces twice, but still it has an idea that actually have an attack to the king side, for example, on this position, and leaving this pawn on mobility, for example, after king to h8 and with a f5 idea. So still it is okay because the g4 here just leaves for the white pieces with a weakness for the king side, for example, on this position. So after the white here reply with knight to b3, that actually opens up some d file, and although it has an idea that he wants to support any bishop to c5 move on this position with his knight, but still the evaluation on this position is a radical equal. And here Nuna here finds a tactical shot, for example, after bishop to g5, because you shall see that it actually offers some queens exchanges, but if the white here plays queen takes d8, he actually loses a piece here because there is a simple bishop takes e3 check, an in between move, and after, for example, king h1, but there is simple rook takes d8, and the black here leaves with a piece up. So after, for example, bishop to g5, the white here should not immediately have a queen's exchanges on the board. And here, Mardli here plays a computer suggested move after bishop to c4 that actually attacks the rook on f8. But Luna here plays a stunning move, for example, after queen to f6, that actually leaves his rook to be in prize. But, for example, after bishop takes f8 and just a simple bishop to e3, and again, it is actually equal on this position if the white here plays an accurate move. But the white here just played the move king to h1 on the text move, which is actually a blunder that leads to a mate n2. For example, after here, Nuna actually plays an accurate move after knight to g3, in which it forces the white here to resign because h takes g3 here doesn't work because he will actually be checkmated on queen to h6. So for example, going back after on this position with bishop to e3, Marley here should play the move rook to f2. And for example, after king takes f8, there is just simple queen to e1. And after bishop takes f2 and queen takes f2, the position here is actually balanced with equal number of the pieces on the board. So going back, just a recap, for example, after e4, c5, knight f3, e6, d4, and after c takes d4, knight takes d4, and Nona here just play a development after knight c6, and Mardi here defend, and for example, after knight f6, attacking the a4 pawn, there is a knight defense, and after e5, and knight takes c6, d takes c6, f3, stopping any g4 hop. And for example, after bishop e7, just a normal developing move. And after bishop to c4, king side castling, knight h5, although it violates some opening principles, but it leaves some radical ideas that actually attacks the king side on this position. And after, for example, knight to b3, there's just a simple bishop to g5, a counter attacking move. And for example, after bishop to c5 and queen to f6, bishop takes f8, and after bishop to e3, in which the defender is to bring his rook to f2, but Mardley here blundered and plays king to h1, and Duna here wins in just 14 moves with knight to g3. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and please don't forget to subscribe.